Hello, and welcome to Saguaro Spotlight. I'm your host, Deanne Kincaid. Today's guest is Betsy Bradley. She's the author of a book titled A Chance to Dance, A Parent's Guide to a Healthy Dance Education. Welcome to the show, Betsy.
Thank you for having me.
My first question is, who is the intended audience for this book? Who did you write it for?
This book is for all the dance parents in the United States. There are over 10,000 students at any given time, and this is to help the parents make healthy choices in their dancers' education. It's for beginning students, it is for boys and girls. It's also for the more advanced student, as it has information in it about auditions, summer programs, as well as a college education.
So what makes you the expert in this?
Well, I've been dancing since I was 10 years old. I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in ballet, as well as a Master's in Early Childhood Education, and I've been teaching for 40 years.
That sounds like some pretty good credentials to me. Now, in order for the viewing audience to get an idea what a dance class is actually like, we have a videotape from the Scottsdale School of Ballet that shows some actual classes in progress. So while we watch that video, you're going to describe what we're seeing. So please roll that tape now.
Although the clip is filmed at a ballet school, the book covers many different dance forms. You're now watching a pre-ballet class. A lot can be learned at this age in preparation for further study. Strength, coordination, flexibility, attention span, musicality, and spatial awareness are all practiced at this level.
Look how cute they are in their little leotards.
Here Mr. Dady is demonstrating an exercise. You'll notice that the foot placement is separate from the head placement, is different from the arm placement. All must be executed by the students with the music. Students often study more than one discipline of dance at a time. This is a flamenco class. A variety of styles are needed if you're going to pursue dance as a profession. You'll notice that although the arms are similar to those in the ballet class, they're much stronger in the flamenco class. Dance is a performing art form, so performance is what everybody is working towards. Here you see an expert seamstress fitting the traditional ballet tutu. Now we're with the advanced students. You'll notice how years of stretching has paid off for them. The bar exercises have been similar since the beginning of their instruction and increases with difficulty as they get older.
And by the bar, you mean that wooden rail that they're holding on to there. That's the dance bar.
Yes. You'll notice their long, thin muscles are developed, and the precision with which they do the exercises comes from years of repetition and practice.
And look at this young girl with stars in her eyes, thinking of a future as a ballerina. We want to thank the Scottsdale School of Ballet for allowing us to come and videotape in their classes. So let's start with how a parent can support their student through the physical aspect of learning to be a dancer. For example, I see these are classes for preteens and teens, and a lot's going on in that body at that time in their life. Talk to me about how the parent can support in this aspect.
Yes, and support is needed at that age. Preteens are going through not only physical changes, but emotional and hormonal changes. It's not uncommon for a parent to come home and find their sweet child's body inhibited by an alien, and they don't know what's happened. At this age, it's very important to continue to encourage them to try their hardest, to work and improve from where they are and not compare themselves to other dancers in the class.
Because this is a fragile age where youngsters are developing a self-image, so it's especially important. I know that ballet is a very difficult discipline, and sometimes teachers aren't always that nice. So talk to us about how a parent can support the child in an emotional aspect of learning to be a dancer.
Well, dance teachers come in all shapes and forms as well. You have the kind teacher, you have the strict teacher, and you may have the teacher that seems to be nothing but mean for no apparent reason. The parents can help their children understand that the corrections given in class are to help them to progress. And teacher will not spend the time on a student that they don't believe has the ability to progress. So actually corrections are a form of encouragement and
It's a compliment.
compliment.
And in this process of correcting, is there touch between the instructor and the student? Because a lot of youngsters today have been warned about bad touch, good touch. What is appropriate touching between the instructor and the student?
Appropriate touching between instructor and student always has to do with correcting the body to where it needs to be in the exercise. Touching is very commonplace in dance classes. An example would be you saw the ballet students with their arms held to the side at the bar. Well, I might get at somebody who's doing this. Now I can verbally say lift your elbow, in which case I might get this, which is not much more attractive. Whereas if I go over and I lift the elbow and I touch the shoulder and I stretch the fingers, now they have a physical understanding of where their body needs to be placed.
So they can connect the verbal instruction with the physical instruction and it integrates into their muscle memory.
Hopefully.
Tell me about what happens when a parent becomes too involved in the student's progress. Is there such thing as a dance dad and a dance mom?
There are, in many different degrees. It's very important to follow your student's lead and encourage them, of course, help them get to where they need to be on time and to class prepared. However, it needs to be led by the student. They need to want to be there and work hard. When a student is dragged to class, unfortunately, they end up more often than not working, and you will not progress in dance class if you don't work hard.
So I'm sure you've covered parental etiquette in the book about how a parent should behave at the dance studio. So let's talk about practicing at home. Should a parent encourage the student to practice at home?
There are things a student can do at home that will help them in class. Stretching is very important, and it should be practiced almost on a daily basis. I don't encourage my students to have ballet bars or to practice their dances for the recital anything more than to understand the sequence. The reason for this is because in class you have the teacher's eye to help you to correct the small little mistakes that you may not feel in your body. As far as the performance goes, learning the sequence is good, but when you perform the piece, you must perform in your spot, on a stage with other dancers, in sequence with them, and to the music. And that needs to be practiced as a group.
So that's tough to learn at home. Synchronization can only be learned with the other students.
Yes.
So, Betsy, tell me, if a viewer would like to buy your book, how would they find it?
They could find my book on Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com.
And let's say they buy the book, they read the book, but they still have questions. Is there a way they can reach you?
Yes, in the page in the book under About the Author, there is an email address, and they're welcome to contact me with any questions they might have about the book or even questions about their particular student.
Well, that sounds like a pretty good deal for the book buyer. They not only get the book, but they get personal contact from you. Well, I'm sorry, but that's about all the time we have for today. I want to thank our guest, Betsy Bradley, for telling us about her book, A Chance to Dance, A Parent's Guide to a Healthy Dance Education. I hope you've enjoyed the show today. I'm your host, Deanne Kincaid. Tune in again next time.